Hey guys, welcome back. Behavior Strategies for Class. This is the podcast that turns student behavior challenges into classroom success stories. Guys, this is where it's at. If you are struggling with that student behavior, this is the place to be. So, it is going to be April 1st. I am recording this on March 31st. But this will go out tomorrow, which is April 1st, which is crazy that it's April already. And so the theme of April is going to be the stability in the spring storm, because there is still craziness to be had by your students. And I'm sure you have already seen plenty of it. But today we're going to talk about taming that spring silliness. And so recently in a national data study shows that student behavior problems have just persistently gotten higher in April, with multiple surveys spikes in disruption, disrespect, and misbehavior compared to earlier in the year. So there is data showing this. You are not alone. You are not seeing things. You are not hearing things. This is for real happening, and it's not just happening to you. So sometimes this overload of your student's nervous system comes out in their silliness, in their goofiness. And this really is an attempt to regulate, connect, and just release some of that sensory nervous system overload. So we're going to talk about how can you respond? What can you do to help your students get it together and focus so they can continue to learn at least for the next couple months of the school year? Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class, the show where your student behavior challenges become your classroom success stories. I'm Diane Bachman, a trauma-informed educator, a certified trauma-informed coach with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I help teachers respond to behavior with calm, clarity, and confidence while building real connection. Each week, we're going to break down those tough moments with practical trauma-informed strategies you can use right away. You'll hear stories that remind you you're not alone. And if you're ready for a calmer classroom, stronger relationships, and behavior support that actually works, you're in the right place. Let's get started. So really, just before we get started, I just want to remind you, hit that subscribe button, share this podcast, this episode with other educators that you know, so we can continue to learn and grow from each other. I also want to ask, are there other ways that I can better support you, that I can better serve you, to better equip you for dealing with your students' challenging behaviors, right? We have the online community available. We have downloads available. Do you want an online course, behavior course, that I have all of it done, but I just have not finished recording it? But I would love to be able to do that and offer that to you. Is it one-on-one coaching? Is it group coaching? Is it just the coaching maybe in the community, like monthly coaching? Is it you just want to listen to the podcast and glean what you can from here? Like, all of that is available to you, and all of that, I love to be able to support you through those things. But is there something else? Is there more you're looking for? Is there something else you're looking for? Or are you good, like I said, just listening to the podcast? I'm totally good and appreciate that. But if there is something else, please let me know. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to better support you. So we're talking about silliness, right? And your kids just acting even extra crazy. And, all of a sudden everyone's a class clown and everybody's laughing at nonsense. You know how you get kind of delirious and you're like getting this crazy laugh. I remember I used to have sleepovers at my house, have friends over, and And we would get those crazy giggles where we were so tired, but we didn't want to go to sleep because we didn't want to miss anything. And, someone would look at you crazy and then you're laughing for 45 minutes. Like, this is the craziness. It reminds me, one of our students, he loves being able to make the other students laugh. And he will say goofy things, and he will sometimes say inappropriate things. But he just loves making people laugh. And it's so funny because he makes me laugh all the time, and he's hysterical. And sometimes it is reminders like, okay, like, now it's time, we got to focus on our writing. You're just kind of bringing him back, like, to the reality of, we have some learning to do. Sometimes it's just laughing at anything. We have some students who do that. They just kind of get delirious again, like I said. Other times they're just in refusal mode. Sometimes they just shut down. They don't want to do anything. And I know that's like an all around year thing. We have students who struggle with that all year, for sure. But when their bodies start to get louder, they're getting a lot more wiggly, right? They're in their seats. They're getting more antsy. They're getting more chaotic. You're going to know that they need some movement. They're feeling a little overwhelmed, and maybe they just really need some connection. And, right, it's surprising when you realize, like, they really do want connection. They want acknowledgement, right? And I know sometimes, like, it's not an appropriate time to acknowledge their silliness. It's not an appropriate time to laugh at their jokes or whatever it is. But to just know, and obviously you can see the whole room. You can see, like, the tension is changing. The environment is changing. Now what can you do? So now you start to see it. So being proactive is super important. So you could say something like, it looks like your body has a lot of energy right now. Let's use it in a positive way and stay on track. Grab your pencil, your book, get up and sharpen a pencil. I don't know, something like that. But this also reminds me of one of our students, actually today. The teacher had called, he wanted a break. So I came in and she's like, he's just kind of all over the place. So we left and he was fine, took a break, had a little snack, went back to class. And he was in a good mood. So it really was positive energy, right? You can tell, like, when it's positive or it's negative. And he was just in a good mood, and he just had a lot of energy and movement. And so we come back to class and he's like sitting on the floor, half standing, half sitting, up and around. And I was like, hey buddy, how about, you want to try using a fidget, like give something for his hands to do. And so he didn't really respond at that moment. And then a couple more minutes, he's like, yes. He's like, I think I want a fidget. And I said, okay. So we went and got one. And it's like, okay, remember, this is a tool just for you. And it really did seem to help him focus, even though, it kept his hands moving. It kept his body, like, still getting that energy. But he was still able to focus and get back to doing his work. So I just reminded him, like, let's keep this positive. Keep that energy going, get the brain focused on your work. And it really did work. And so it wasn't, sometimes I feel like we can respond like, oh man, like, calm down, relax, like, you need to get it together. When really it's okay. Like, they have a lot of energy. It just happens. And so, the teacher and I, we both actually responded, in a positive way, and just like, hey buddy, like, that's great. You have some positive energy, but let's make sure we're keeping it positive and we're doing the right things and we're doing our learning. And that really seemed to help keep him in a positive mood where I didn't come down on him like, you need to chill out, like you need to stop doing whatever. Instead, being able to address it and acknowledge it and then give him some tools, and he was able to go back to class and be fine. So there is ways, right, that you can be positive and give that reinforcement of the positive energy that they have. And so that sometimes is that movement break, right? It could be a whole class movement break. Maybe a couple students need to go in the back of the room and do some movement. Or you could do silly time. You could say, okay, for 1 minute, you guys can all, and granted, this is me talking from the elementary school level, right? So I don't really think, I don't know. Again, I haven't worked in a high school. Will they want like a time where they can act like goofballs? They probably would. But just to remind you, like, this is coming from my experience in working in elementary schools. And so I've seen teachers like, okay, you can laugh, you can make silly faces, you can do whatever. You have 1 minute and I'm going to set the timer. But when the timer's done, we are refocused back on the lesson, whatever it was. And of course, the kids love that. And of course, sometimes there's kids that go a little overboard or they forget, the timer's done, now to stop. But teachers are great in getting them back on track, giving them that moment to act like a goofball and get back on track. It really does. And it helps to regulate their brains so that they can come back and refocus. So another way to help with your students' silliness is predictability, because predictability brings safety. And so you can try a reset routine. So you can do like freeze, breathe, refocus. And you can do that throughout the day. And that takes like less than a minute. Be like, okay, everybody freeze. Take a breath. Refocus. What are you supposed to be doing right now? It really does work. I have seen a lot of classrooms use this, and surprisingly, it really works. And the kids are like, oh, I'm supposed to be here or whatever. And it's not all day long. Sometimes you may have to do it all day long. I don't know. But it does work. Another try that you can do is like, when I say pink, you do 5 jumping jacks. So in this, teachers I have seen have fun with this, right? So it could be randomly at any time that the teacher will yell out whatever code word. So you could say, hey, pink. And everyone should stop and look and be like, oh, we got to do 5 jumping jacks. And then back to work. It's really fun. And it's not completely taking 100% of silliness out, right? Because it's giving them opportunity to movement and keeping that positive energy going, but keeping it in a positive way, right? So you're being proactive again. You're not waiting until this silliness gets out of control and now all of a sudden somebody's angry or somebody's crying or somebody's pushing. We don't want it to get there. So these are really all proactive ways that you can interact with your students when they have all this energy. Because then once you do these reset routines or you say like a special code word, and kids love that too, you can remind them and say, okay, let's get our bodies back into learning mode. And they really do switch back and be like, okay, let me get my book or whatever it is you're doing next. Another thing to remember is that silliness is connection seeking. So you can try a 30-second check-in. A great way that I've seen teachers do it is just standing by the door in the morning, greeting your students, Sometimes like we have kids lining up outside. It's checking in with the students as they come in. It's just saying, hey, how's it going? Are you good? Do you need anything? I don't know what it is you want to say, but a quick, hey, I'm glad you're here today. Another thing to do is a quick partner share. Because, sometimes your students, they have so much to say. They have so much to tell you, especially after the weekend. We just got back from spring break. Like, they still have so many stories to share, right? But there just isn't enough time in the day to go through all that. But you can give them a quick partner share. So, again, a minute, 40 seconds, whatever you want to do, whatever works for you, to be like, okay, share with your partner your favorite thing over spring break. Go. They love that. Or it's 1 minute to talk and then back to work. So kind of the same thing. Just everybody talking at once, talking to each other, sharing real quick, the favorite thing that they enjoyed over spring break, or their favorite movie they got to watch, or the game they played, or whatever it was. Just giving them that second or that minute to talk, and then it's, again, back to work. I'm telling you guys, this really does work. It really does make a difference. Keeping that positive energy positive, right? So clarity also calms silliness. So clarifying for them also acknowledges them. So you can say, let's save jokes for later. Right now we're focusing. Or I can tell you're excited. Let's use that energy to get started. Or I'm here to help you get on track. These are great ways that you acknowledge, you see, like, okay, you've got a lot of energy. You can't sit still, but let's use that energy to get started. So maybe they're starting math, or maybe they're starting a writing assignment. Like, put that energy into a fun story or whatever that you're working on, what they need to focus on. Those are great ways to encourage your students, remind them, what the focus should be, but still acknowledging that they're being silly. They're doing, they're still positive behavior, positive energy, but let's keep using it in the right way. Another thing I really enjoy is that you can end the day with a positive close. So ending it on a positive note, right? So taking a minute of gratitude, like popcorn gratitude. This I love too. I've seen teachers do. Okay, we're going to do popcorn gratitude. So that means students are just going to raise their hand and they're just going to say one word of gratitude to, like, Shelby. Like, that student is thankful for Shelby. Or my book. Or, recess. Lunchtime. Math. Whatever it is. And, you do a minute of popcorn gratitude. You could do it that way. You could end the day with a class circle and everyone go around that way. Or you could have kids come write it on the board, or write Post-it notes and have a poster that the kids can just post it on there. And maybe throughout the day, throughout the week, remind kids to look on there. This was your gratitude wall. Let's take a minute and everybody, table, maybe by table, go and check out that gratitude wall again. Remember what you've been thankful for. Or you have a time of feedback. So guys, what do you think went well today? Was it the time you were able to partner share? Was it the time you were able to be silly for a minute? Was it the time we all did a movement break? Was it the time, keeping that reset routine where we all froze and took a breath and refocused? Did it really help you guys? Getting that feedback from them, because you can see, it probably did work. Like I said, it does work. But you can also see where some just didn't engage for whatever reason, right? We know there's always some who will not. But overall, getting the feedback from the students. Yeah, I really like that. I think that really helped me. Some, okay, no, that didn't really. But we can try it again tomorrow. Maybe it'll help tomorrow, or you can mix it up and do something different the next day, right? Another way that you can end on a positive note as well is giving those high fives, or affirmations, saying affirmations, reminding them who they are and how far they've come and how much they've learned so far for the year. Giving a review, is amazing, so that they truly realize how much they have learned and gone throughout the year so far. I think they would be super surprised to see how much they've learned. So which one of these are you going to try and work on with some of your students that you see who are being like extra silly and just extra energy? How are you going to engage with them to keep them in positive energy, getting them to focus on their learning? Are you going to do the reset, the movement, the silly time, the partner share? Giving clarity on, like, let's save those jokes for later. Right now we're focusing on work. Are you going to end your day on a positive note? Doing gratitude, affirmations, feedback, what went well? I'm telling you, these will make a difference and will help you have a more positive April with so much going on, so much energy with your students. So let's keep it going positive. So I want to end with a couple April quotes that I think are pretty fun. April 1st, where lying is not only encouraged, but it is allowed. And April Fool's Day is the day that I can blame all of my mistakes on a prank. Anyways, those were just some funny things that I saw for April Fool's Day, which is the day this is coming out. So, thanks so much, guys, for listening. Thanks so much for your continued support. I truly appreciate it. Again, hit that subscribe button. Leave a review on Apple Podcast. I would love to hear from you and see which one of these strategies are you going to use. Which strategies have you used in the past that have been successful? I would love to hear from you guys. All right, I will see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.